All right, welcome. Today is May 23rd. I can't believe how fast time flies. All right, so today, what we're going to talk about is real case studies or clients. We're not going to go in depth. I'm going to talk about briefly three, but I'm going to go in depth in one, which is a recent client of ours. Actually, two of them are recent. So, um, I've talked in my previous I guess, lives about how important Google Business Profile with local SEO and the things that we need to do. But even I think before you get to Google Business Profile, which is something that is overlooked, we're going to be talking about the foundation, right? Just to give you a little bit of glimpse of some of the things that we have been able to do, even before I get into it, I just want to give a little bit of I guess, background as well as a better understanding of what we do. So I'm going to take, for example, one of our client is his name is Alan Sedin, and he's been working with us for a couple of years uh, to do his website and his Google Business Profile, as well as his main thing was generating leads, uh, generating reviews. So um, he just posted in his Facebook um, that he was at an event and he met uh, a person by the name of Ken White, and also another caricature artist. And he met them 20 years ago, and he was actually teaching caricature, and all three of them are from the same agency. And I think one of the things that happened was that the agency found him online through searching, right? And so um, he mentioned that these it was a dream of his to meet with them, and now he had the opportunity to take pictures and be alongside of them, right? And this would not have happened if the entertainment agency has not did not come across his account. And so now caricature artist is a very niche, and so if I just type in caricature, I went incognito just to make sure that it doesn't pick up any the previous browsing history. Artists near Winnipeg, Canada, right? And as you can see here, he is ranking number two, right? So you have this guy here, number one. But my main concern, if you think about how far is Winnipeg, I'm in New Jersey. And so local SEO, so actually, even before I get into it, local SEO is the searches that come up when from Google Business Profile, and the global search is the stuff that happens down here. So as you can see, Alan is actually searching number one in terms of his global search. I didn't even know that until now when I checked it out. Um, but anyway, so Winnipeg from here, what is the distance from here? Let's see. Let's take a look. Because depending on where you are, so the fact that he's ranking number two, even closer, he's probably ranking number one or number two, and his sphere of influence around, not I won't say sphere of influence, I would say, in terms of his search grid is going to be probably larger. He's going to be ranking number one, two within Winnipeg, right? So if I just type in, let's type in Google Maps, and see how far is Winnipeg in relationship to here. So, whoops, Winnipeg. Direction. Let's see here. Let's just put in New Jersey. I'm just going to give a general, see if that can pull it out. It's about, it's halfway around the country. So, or more. It's on the other side. So it's about 1,800 miles away. And so even searching from here. So if anybody were to be searching, um, The only difference with him, it took a while, is because he did not have a physical location, meaning that he didn't have a physical. He because he his ad, so we use his service area rather than a physical address. So typically, if you are using Google Business Profile and you're putting a physical address, you're probably going to rank a little bit faster as opposed to if you're just using service area and not using a location. All right, let's take another case scenario with Kevin Majeski. Now, he's a realtor, right? And what I noticed is before we started before he started using our services, he wasn't ranking on the local search results. And it has to do with a whole bunch of different things. I'm not going to go into it because I want to talk about another person. Um, so in his case, it was mainly, I think my main thing with him is his website. There's certain things that are missing from the website that really will boost him up. But as soon as we started working with him to get some reviews and optimizing his Google Business Profile, we can see here, let's just say here, best real estate agent. I already typed it in before. Um, maybe what I'll do is I'll just use another. Let me use another. I'm gonna pull another Google Chrome. Let me try another. Let me see here. Let me pull this in. This is another browser that hasn't done the search for that. So I just want to make sure that I give. So if I do best real estate agent in Anderson, Indiana, that's his location. Um, he's not ranking here, but I know previously he wasn't ranking in the top like first page. So as you can see here, he's ranking here. So which is one, two. These are they're running local ads. So as you can see here, one, two, three, four. So he's number four. So ultimately we want to get into the top three. Okay, so he's up there. Um, the what was I gonna say for him? He recently changed his location, and that's another thing that we have to work on is making sure that his foundation and all of the uh, addresses match. So we're gonna go over that just um, just in a short period. Let me just talk about him. Finish talking with him. So basically, ultimately push him up, and then even another thing with Kevin Majeski is also because he does not also want to rank in Anderson. He wants to rank in other outlying communities. Um, he gave me a list of them. I don't remember right off my head. So that's ultimately what we have to work with is for him to rank in the top three the top three local SEO for these other markets outside of Anderson, Indiana. Okay, and you're able to do that. It's just you have to be strategic. All right. So the last one that I want to talk about today, and today really is how do you go from being invisible to number one or number two. And this is a case where Christine Nagy, she's an agent with Kosher Real Estate Group. They're my client, but ultimately she was invisible. So when we even type in realtor near where they're located in East Hanover, they were not she was not ranking at all, invisible, not even showing up on the local searches anywhere. um, After we got done doing what I what I'm doing right what I'm going to show you right here, now she is ranking in uh, East Hanover, New Jersey. So I'm showing you this because this is stuff that works, and it's very tedious, but this is something that either you or somebody has to do them because it's a necessary requirement. Because if you were to if Christine Nagy, if you want to be found online, these are the tedious stuff that needs to be done, right? And so now, if you can see here, she's ranking number two, right? And so she's ecstatic about that. Um, And as you can see, Kosher has been our client for the past, so and they're ranking number two, right? We want to try to beat Zillow, but it changes every so often. But anyway, so what we did is, even before we optimize your Google Business Profile, what you got to do is you got to build a foundation. So what does that mean? Um, I created this just basically for our internal purposes. You can utilize it if you want. There's nothing magical about this. So what we do is all of the major social media platforms, as well as any major uh, platforms, listings that are specific to that industry. In this case, real estate agents. I have one specific for real estate agents. I have here for specific brands. So what you have to do is you have to go through each of these. So I'm going to just delete this one for um, because Christine Nagy is a real estate agent, and I'm just going to delete that. And basically, one of the services that we do is basically we go through the online and find and try to basically analyze and see if there's any issues with regard to Christine Nagy's social media. And that's really ultimately what it was, is that somebody has to sit down and look at Christine Nagy because she's nowhere to be found. So basically, if you think about it, why is she not being found? Is because Google is not, either they're confused about who Christine Nagy is, or number two, um, so there's something wrong with somewhere, and there's no way for me to tell Google, hey, this is something wrong. I mean, you can force it, but along this web of online presence, there was a disconnect. And so it's our job, right? Because that's what she hired us to do, is she can say, hey, I'm not being found. And so my job, or our job as a team, is to figure out what is wrong with her presence, right? So what we do is I would just Google Christine Nagy, all right, Christine Nagy, and then basically I can see right now, because I did this already. So Christine Nagy there's another Christine Nagy out there, right? And she is, looks like she is a radio personality. Uh, so basically that's not her, right? So then, okay, let's just say Christine Nagy, realtor, right? So as you can see now, she's able to be found. I wasn't sure before if she had this here before. So now we see Christine Nagy, she's found, right? So one of the things that I would first take a look at is that if she had a website, her website should be ranking number one. But the fact that it's not ranking on number one, it means that there's something wrong with her website, right? So I would put in here under website, I'll put a note here that she is not ranking on page one when we Google her name plus realtor, right? So these are things that we do. Okay. All right. So then I would say that, okay, she has a realtor, uh, and so that I would put in here. I'll put this link, right? I'll put this link here. And then on the realtor down here, I would put in here realtor, right? And then I would see what the CTA is. So it's call to action, because you'd be surprised. Um, at the end of the day, when people go to these social media platforms, there has to be a call to action, you know, preferably a lead magnet, because ultimately you want to capture their information, or at least direct them to a web page or some place where they're going to take an action, right? Most of the time, this is something that has, this is a little bit of planning ahead, but um, so that's basically what we do here, and we just take right here. When we do this, we're just looking at the foundations and making notes of things that we can make better in the future, right? So then what do we do here? We just take a copy of this and see, I just copy that. And the reason why we do this is because we want you'd be surprised that how some of these may be outdated. Maybe a lot of agents go switching from one agency to another, and so the information that's here may not represent her current situation. And so uh, now we can see here um, contact details. So I want to make sure I make note of this. So then I'll put a note here at the bottom of realtor, right, and said she, oops, she has multiple contact numbers. Okay. And then main thing is here, the address, right? We just make sure that the address is most up to date. And what I do here is at the very top, we put in here her NAP, right? So which is her name, Christine Nagy, right? Now here is where, do we add realtor in here or not? Okay, and so this is another thing that we probably have to do a little bit due diligence. So I would put in here NAP under note here, right? Note. Uh, I would probably do a what do you call it? A citation search. Do a citation search to determine whether to use Christine Nagy or Christine. Now this is even, we're not even talking about like um, like the technical aspect of like Google algorithm. This is basic fundamental things that um, that nobody really probably talks about, right? But this is important because at the end of the day, you want everything um, to point to the right places. And even some of these platforms, um, let me just say, let me finish this portion. So, for example, if within here, this Facebook, you want to make sure that this Facebook page, if I click on it, it should point to her page. So this is Christine Nagy. Now, this is her page. So luckily, this is pointing to the right place. Sometimes you'd be surprised. Some people, it's linking to a page that's not visible, a page that's non-existent. So you want to make sure that it's pointing to the right place. So I'm going to go back to Realtor here, and I just want to make a note here. So the call to action here is here, link to our Facebook page, right? And I'll put that there, and then I'll put in here, so that way. All right, and then let's see if making sure that her website. So Christine Naked. So that's her website. So it is pointing to her website. So ultimately, what this is also part of the algorithm because now you have the right connection. So if you don't have the right website and if a website is pointing to the wrong website or to a website that's non-existent, then you're gonna have a disconnect. All right. So um, this is what we do. Very tedious, but it is something that is necessary because you want all of her online presence to be connected and pointing to the right places and all basically connected to each other. And you want, so this kind of goes into the algorithm a little bit, and I don't want to talk about the algorithm of Google, like the new algorithm update, talking about authority and expertise. When you have this, it basically is boosting your authority. Okay. Um, let's see here. What was I here? Now it's pointing to a website. So then I'm gonna copy that and then put her website here, and then I'll put in here under realtor call to action. Actually, no, I made a mistake. This is the call to action. This should be here. My mistake. So I'm not going to go through the whole thing because we only have a limited time here. So as I think I put this in the wrong place here. My mistake. That was under homes and not realtor. So link. Then there's also link to, let me see here, link to her website, link to, oops, link to Kosha's um, broker website, I think. And so you just want to make sure, let me go back here and, all right, so you get that. So it's pointing to the right place. And so not only is that helping Kosha, the broker's website, she's getting a link also as well. I mean, that's giving a link. So that's, helping each other out as well. Um, then her phone number, I'm pretty sure that's her mobile, that's the office number. I'm not sure why she has that one. Probably give her I would probably let her know, hey, go into, or we would do it ourselves and just make sure that I would just get rid of this double, because you don't want Google to think that you're trying to hack their algorithm by having the same number over again. So not a big deal. I don't think that's going to be affected, but it's not necessary to have that. So then I would put in here on the realtor, make a note, um, uh, uh, delete the second mobile number. Okay. So these are little things that we need to execute later on. So then we will go to our Google Business Profile. Actually, before even we do that, let me go back and do the search. So now you can see that Kosha is ranking number 2. And when we did the search for Christine Nagy, then I'm just going to go look down and see where. So you see right here, she's ranking down here. So her website, I know just by looking at it, I know that this needs work. And so that's another thing that probably we would, now is it necessary because now she's ranking number 2 in search. If she wants to expand her search further and stay on top, this is something that I may advise her to look at her website, because that's not in our scope of work at this point for us to look at her website. Right now, I'm just doing a preliminary analysis and seeing what needs to be done. So I will make a note here later that uh, her website needs work, um, probably SEO wise. Okay. All right. To be ranking number 1. Okay, number 1 in global search. When we Google her name. Okay, and so the same thing is that we would do for all of these social media, including these. So these are basically, every niche or industry has specific, I guess, listings that you want to focus on. But for real estate agents, these are the major ones, right? Most businesses, right? And let's just say, for example, another thing that is important is that some of these platform, like even Google Business Profile. Let's go take a look at her Google Business Profile. Let's see here, Google, um, and say Christine Nagy. Okay. Um, you're not going to see it on the front facing, but on the back end, there recently Google added that you can add social media profile. So I think it had it before, I don't remember, but we just went in there and make sure that we've added all of our social media platforms. And some of these listings, I think YouTube has it. You also have it on Facebook pages, uh, have places where you can put uh, the all the social media that are associated with that specific brand or entity. You want to go in there and put all of those in, because now you're basically collaborating that she's that specific person that when people are searching for. Okay, so um, ultimately this is the stuff that we do, that ultimately, before you even go and optimize your Google Business Profile and start doing stuff with that, this is the stuff that Whether you could do it before or after, it doesn't really matter. But at the end of the day, this is something that has to be done in order to get them boosted and ranked. Okay, because ultimately, I think one of the things that people um, stop when um, when they're trying to do SEO and trying to rank is that it doesn't happen overnight. It happens gradually over a period of time. And then when you get there, you no longer have to rely on ads. You can use ads to get more traffic to your website, but you got leads or you got people coming to you because they know you and they're searching for you, or they're searching for a solution that you provide. And so ultimately, that is the short version of how you get from invisible, which Christine Nagy was before, to being visible and ranking number two in this case. Would she ever go to number one? Well, because Kosha is in the same brokerage, I think she's happy with being number two, at least being found. That's because that she wasn't being able, she was not she was invisible before. She, even when we tried to search for realtor, she was nowhere to be found. And I did that. Didn't document it before, but I'm, I'm that's why she reached out to us. All right. So on that note, I'm gonna just wait and see if there's any comments on YouTube specifically by looking at the chat, because there is like I said, a minute or two delay, I think. It might have been less, I'm not sure. But I'm going to see if there's any um, comments. I don't see any comments coming in. And I'm going to wait for another minute or two. But if you're watching this, whether now or whether you're watching it after the live, thank you for watching. And, I would say subscribe to my channel. And this is the stuff I do, stuff that we do currently with our clients, and no theory, but actual practical stuff. I walk the talk. All right. I see there's no comments. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week. Next week, I believe we are doing office hours. So if you have any questions, please either write those questions in the comments, and I will address those questions for next week. All right. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye now.